Alright, so let's continue. So now let's start with the development, but before that there is something which I kind of forgot to point in the last video, which is this thing, the stars. So while designing the UI, I thought let's also add another attribute of rating, and that's what it is. So after developing it, it's not going to look like this, but more of like an icon of star, and right next to it the numeric value. So it means that we have to add another field in the Google Sheet as well. Let's do that. Actually, I've already done that. You can do the same. Add another column by the name of stars. The first row, the cell value of the first row should be stars, and all the other ones should be somewhere between like 1 to 5, whatever way you want to show the star rating. Anyway, so that's that. And if we see it over here, that's how it's going to look like. So that's perfect. That's one of the one of the good things of investing time in structuring your data, because it helps you in its by itself as you add more things. Anyway, so now let's start with the development, and the first thing that we will be doing is to set up our project, which means that let's first import the different fonts which we are using in this design. So in this one we are using this one, which is Playfair, which is for the titles, and the other one is Lato. So you don't have to manually go to fonts.google. By the way, these are Google fonts, so the entire procedure of importing them, it's perfect, it's full of ease. So I have it over here. You don't have to do the same. You can just visit the official website of this channel and you're gonna find the project somewhere around here. Just click on that. Within the resources section, the tab, you're gonna find the font family right somewhere around here. So in your case, you can just copy it from there. So let me just do it from here for the time, like right now, and let's head back to the project. So within the underscore document.js, we are already importing a Google font, which is Roboto, and this is actually the default font which the MUI library, the material UI, uses. So we're going to replace it with the one that we need to use with a self-closing tag. So that's perfect. So now the other thing is let's change the default font in our theme. So for that, let's head to the theme.js, and over here we have this palette. Let's actually remove this thing. We don't even need to import the red color object. And now we will be overriding the typography theme configuration variable. Let's change the font family to be, one second, Playfair display, the font that we are importing, this one. Let's set the fallback font of serif. Perfect. So now let's head back and let's start with the actual development. So the other thing to keep in mind is that this page, because this is the only page of our store, we will be keeping it as lean as possible so that it is manageable, so that it's organizable, like it's easy to organize. Which means we won't be adding the components right over here. We won't be doing that. Instead, we will be creating another folder right in the root of our application by the name of components. And within this, let's create another folder for the component that we have right over here. Whoops. This particular one. So we're going to call this component as the Topbar component because it seems fit for the name. So the Topbar component, it has 3 elements. It has the title, it has the cart icon on the right side, and also the tabs of different genres. So that's what we're going to do. So heading back to the editor right over here, within the components folder that we have in the root, let's create another folder by the name of Topbar, and within this let's create index.js within the Topbar folder. So I have an extension installed in the sorry about that. So the stack component, firstly, what exactly it is, you can, like, in case you have no experiences in MUI, perfectly fine, no need to worry. It's just a component which allows you to stack components. So over here we have a stack, inside of which we have another stack. So the key idea is that this stack, the one which is wrapping the entire thing, within which we are adding another stack which will just wrap the title and the icon, and below this we will be adding the tabs. So that's where we are. So this is the outer one, and right now we are working in the internal one, and then we're gonna add the tabs. I hope that's clear. Let's head back, and over here, let me actually take a quick sip of water. So now let's actually add the typography. So the typography component is again coming from the MUI library. We are going to use the different components provided by the library, obviously. So this particular one is used to display text. So in this case, let's add, you can add any of your own, doesn't have to be the same. Let's add DC bookstore, which is like a short for Desi codes. And right over here, let's also add the icon. 1 second. How do we do that? Seems like it's not working. 1 second. How come it's not working? Oh, now it is. Very nice. So I'm gonna copy this thing. It's I don't know. Anyway, it might be working on your end. So I will be just adding the emoji right over here, and let's also increase the size of it by adding in the variant. So we have a dozen of different options to choose from, and not a dozen, but I think less than a dozen, or nearly a dozen, anyway. So the one that we should go with is, I guess, H4. We will check it out like after it's done, like after we see it. And the other thing is, let's also add the icon, the cart icon. So when we installed the NextJS along with the MUI library, it automatically installs the icons -material library along with it. So this library, it has a bunch of different icons, I think more than 1K, which is great, and we will be importing the cart icon from it. So over here, heading back to the browser, in the documentation, let's search for icons, and we're going to find the material icons. This is the package that we have already installed, and let's search for cart. So there we have different options for the icons. Let's go with this one. I'm gonna just copy this one, automatically gets copied to the clipboard. Let's head back and let's add it over here. And lastly, we need another icon, which is icon button. Now it's like a wrapper for the icons that you use. So over here, right next to the typography, let's add icon button, within which we can add shopping cart icon in a self-closing tag. So now if we save it, there's one other thing that we should do. Let's change the color. Let's add the color as such as what we have over here. So you can pause the video and copy the same thing right now. So let's add the BG color, which is a prop that we can use on stack, and it has to be this particular color with the hexadecimal symbol. And also let's add some padding so that we have some breathing space. P, just P, with a value of, let's go with 6. So it means 8 into 6, that's 8 into 48, and 48 pixels all around the Topbar component. So now let's head back to the home page. Let's remove the entire thing. We will be adding fragments because we want to keep this component, this page, as lean as possible. So right over here, let's add in the Topbar component, and it should auto import, I hope. There it is. So let's just place it and let's take it. Let's See, what do we have by far? Okay, not bad. We need to fix a few things. We do have the title and we have the cart icon. So the stack component, as I earlier said, that it is used to stack elements. So this, the stack, it has directions, like you can change the direction. The default one is column, but if we add the, like if we pass down the direction prop, we can see the different options available. So in this case, let's go with row so that they sit next to each other, and there we have it. Perfect. But we want them to sit apart from each other, and for that we can add justify content to be of space between. If we do that, it's pushed all the way to the right side. Beautiful. Now lastly, let's also change the, not lastly, for now let's also change the font color, and for that let's head back to the design. You don't have to do that. You can pause the window and pause the video and copy the same color code. So on this typography, let's add color and let's paste it as such. So if we do that, there it is. But the thing is that the entire design that we have, I don't know what happened back then. Anyway, so the thing is that the entire design that we have, it's using the same color code. As you can see, the same one will be used on the title right over here, except the for the genre or few other things, but mostly we are using the same color. So instead of keep on copying the same thing in a repeated manner, let's set this color to be the default color for all the typographies. And in case we want to use a different color, then at that time we will change it manually. So for that, let's copy the color code. You don't have to do this. I'm gonna remove it from here. If I do that, it's back to the normal color, like the black one. So now let's head back to the theme, and over here let's target another theme configuration variable, in this case palette, within which we have the, which one was it? I'm actually confused myself. Was it this one? You don't have to do it right now. Nope. I think it was default. One second, let me check. Between the it was background, and within this we have default. So this color kind of forgot at that time. Anyway, so this color, like within the palette, the background and the default, this color will be set as the default color for all the typography. Well, actually not. That's actually the color for the background. I'm kind of, so never mind, things like this do happen. Let me just cross check, and that's the reason why I kind of want this entire thing to be as raw as possible. We have the palette, we have the text. Yep, that's what it is. So that's what we need to do. So we have the palette, and within this we have the text, and over here we can just change the primary color to be of this, and there it is, I guess. Yep, there it is. Perfect. Never mind. That's what it is, like when you're coding in real life, not knowing what has to be done, like without pre-recording videos, stuff like that. Anyway, that's the fun part. So now we are done with the title and the cart icon. It's looking decent. Let's actually increase the size, or I think that is fine. Let's just keep it the way that it is. So now let's add the tabs right over here, for which we will be using the tabs component. You don't have to visit the site. Let me do one thing. Should I copy it, or maybe Never mind, let's do it in this way. Over here we have the stack, and we have to make sure that we are adding the tabs right over here. Now if you like, if we want, we can actually create a separate file, a different file for the tabs, but in this case let's just put it right over here. So we will be importing, we just need to import the tabs and the tab component. Pretty intuitive that the tabs component will be wrapping the individual tab, right? So over here we have the label, and the first one is all. For now let's just hardcode quest, and also the other one which is self help. And over here the value, we have to set the value and also the value for each one of them. So for that we can actually copy them. The last one got missed out anyway, so I'm gonna copy the same thing. The last one, make sure it is self help, and the value on the main tabs should be pointing to one of them. So let's put all. So if we do that, there it is, we have the same, like we have all the tabs. Obviously we need to fix this thing, it doesn't look good. So for that, let me actually it makes sense because we are adding padding on all the sides. If you remember, in the stack component right over here, we are adding it all, like on all the directions. So at the bottom, let's actually keep it to be of 0, so that it's that, that's what it is, that's what we want. Beautiful. So now let's add a bit of spacing between them, and for that, on the upper stack, the one containing the title and the icon, let's add MB margin bottom to be of 4. I think that's looking much better. And lastly, we need to fix the font which we are using over here. Obviously this one doesn't look nice, so let's fix that. And for it, let's do one thing. Wait a second. So the other font that we are importing is Lato. So there are again multiple ways to fix this thing. On the tabs component, we can use the SX prop, and over here let's first try to change the font family like this and see whether it's working. It's not, doesn't, like, never mind. Let's individually target the tabs that we have. So this is the tabs component within which we have the tabs as such. Perfect. So we need to target the MUI tab hyphen root. This is what we need to target, right? So for instance, if I select this thing and if I change the font family like this to be of Lato, check it out, that's looking much better. And also the text transform to be of none, so that it looks the original way, like the way that it is. Now that's looking much better. And how about a bit of font weight of 600? Beautiful, that's looking much better. So that's what we need to do. All right, so heading back right over here in the SX, let's add quotes, ampersand, which would mean the same element, in this case the tabs, the one which is wrapping all the tabs. Like this ampersand is referring to this, like this tab. So over here we are saying that within this, all the MUI tab hyphen root, the root element, we want to change a few things. What do we want to change? We want to change the font. Let me confirm the weight that we are importing this in. Okay, so we are just importing 600 for both of them. Okay, so the font weight to be of 600, the font family to be of Lato, and fallback font of sans serif. And what else was it? The text transform to be of how about capitalize? I think capitalize would look much better. And there it is, looking beautiful. Nice. So let's also change the color to be the same as what we have over here. And for this, let's again, you can pause the video and enter the same thing. So let's head to the theme right over here. Within the palette, we will be overriding the primary color because that's the one the MUI components normally go with. So this color that you see, this is actually the primary one. So over here, let's change the main one to be of this color. And if we do that, ta-da, there we have it. Beautiful. So the application is overall looking nice, I guess. Let's also change this color, or maybe the way that it is, it's looking nice, isn't it? Let's just keep it the way that it is. But I guess let's also increase the size of this thing. Again, it's triggering my OCD for perfection. The size of this bottom line, which should be this thing. So this is MUI tabs hyphen indicator, and we just need to increase the height to be of about, I guess, 3 or maybe 4 or maybe 5 or maybe 4. I'm just kidding. Let's go with 4. So over here, let's head back to the top bar, and similarly, let's copy this thing, and this time I kind of forgot the name. 1 second. It was indicator, right? MUI tabs indicator. Okay, perfect. So this one would be indicator, and this is there's one more thing, like it's like it's a good thing that just it came to me right now, that sometimes you may misspell it. You may, like, there is a chance that you may not enter the exact, like the right the slot. These are referred as slots. Earlier they were referred as rule names in the version 4. Now these are slots. So there is a possibility that you may misspell them, and in order to avoid those cases, here's another golden tip. So the MUI library, it will contain all the classes as well. So over here, because these are related to the MUI tab, not tabs, but the tab. So over here we can import the tab classes like this. Perfect, isn't it? And now, instead of using the double quotes, let's use backticks so that we can kind of have dynamic content over here, and we will be wrapping the entire thing in square brackets. So instead of using it in this way, we will be using the template query, and within the tab classes, we can, like, we have all the different classes, all the different slots. So the first one was root. So let me just copy the same thing right over here, and the second one was indicator, right? Indicator. This one is not related to the tab, but but the tabs, yeah, that's what it is, right? So that's again one of the benefit. I was about to make a silly mistake, but because of this thing, we are avoiding that possibility. So let's import the the tabs classes as well, and over here, instead of tab classes, it would be tabs classes and indicator as such. Perfect. So now if we save it and if we take a look, let me just refresh. So that's perfect. That's not perfect. 1 second. So 1 second, this thing is, oh, obviously I didn't change the height. It has to be 4 as such, and now that is perfect. Let's add a bit more spacing between them. Let's go with like 6, and let's change the variant to be of H3. I guess that's looking much better, isn't it? So that's beautiful. We are done with the topmost component of this store, and things are looking pretty good. All right, so I guess in the next video, let's first finish up the UI, I mean the rest of the UI, and then we will eventually start implementing the actual taking the data and actually using it with the UIs. So right now, like as you can see, we added hard-coded genres, but eventually it's going to be the ones coming from the server. All right, so let's do that. Let's continue with the UI in the next video.